Somewhere in my early days of Vietnam, I realized that I was very frightened. I learned that fear could paralyze you. I felt that I had a special duty. As an officer, I had to take action when everybody else didn't. I had to lead. When people were shooting, I had to stand and run. I had to give directions. I had to be the example. And I got to tell you, when you're first shot at, it's really frightening. I got through that because I prayed.
I think what I know about Jim is he's first of all a man of faith, so he gets his fuel from his beliefs. Secondly, I think what motivates Jim then is second commandment of, love one another.
One of the things I realized about Vietnam was that you weren't there for your country as much as you were there for the guy next to you. When I was in the service, this thing called post-traumatic stress didn't exist. It was referred to as combat fatigue. And when you're in the military and you're taught to survive, and everything you do is to survive on your own, it's hard to even ask for help. It wasn't that I didn't want to talk about my experiences, it was that I didn't think anybody was interested. So I had an experience that changed my whole way of looking at things. I had a family that came to me and their son was going to go to Iraq, and they knew that I was a combat veteran and wondered if I would talk to him. And I learned from him that veterans needed to know that they wouldn't be forgotten, quite frankly.
Jim was a military hero in the highest sense of the word, and then he continued to support veterans all the way through the time that we grew up together, so to speak. And now for the last 4 years has been working with the Department of Military and Veterans Affairs, doing what is essentially, I think, his best calling, which is working with disabled veterans and those returning veterans who need assistance in getting back into society.
The purpose of the Veterans Tribute is to both advocate and show example of great veteran service. We're looking for the vet who then comes home, gets back to life, and their service continues. And of course, Jim's has been exemplary in advocating for veteran services. So he's the perfect recipient for the John Denver Award.
My best friend asked me one day if I'd be interested in helping veterans at the state level, and I said I would. And I had an opportunity to oversee 2 veterans' homes, one in Grand Rapids, one in Marquette. And I have to tell myself at times to go home at night. It's so enjoyable. I deal with every veteran from World War II to today, literally. And I've discovered, again, a lot of people without families, a lot of people just need to be thanked and need to know that their service mattered. In a veteran setting, other veterans are the greatest motivator to a veteran, and that's how I view myself now. And I get much more back than anybody that I've ever helped.
I think Jim's commitment to military veterans and their families is extraordinary. He is fun, he's an active guy, he seems like awfully relaxed and calm to have gone through what he went through.
All my life, I played hockey. My dad was in the Ice Capades. And from the time I was 8 years old, I was on the ice. I was part of something bigger than me. So it translates really in that direct way. Hockey is a sport that you're doing for a team. You're part of a group. You may or may not have anybody watching, but you're feeding off one another. And so when I go to these homes, I realize that I'm part of a bigger team. All these employees that are there make things happen. I'm fortunate enough to be part of that group. And hockey constantly reminds me that I'm part of a much bigger atmosphere.
He has so many friends and so many people love the guy that you really don't have to say much about him to get people to realize this is a great person and he does great things for lots of people. I would just tell people, if you don't know him, you should get to know him. He's a great guy.
Jim and the Volunteers of America share this commitment for service to others. Love of one another can be empty without action. I see such great humility in Jim, and I think that is an important hallmark whenever you go into service. Your actions have to be pure and well motivated by the best intentions, and I really see that in Jim. And so that's why I'm really pleased to have Jim be the recipient of the John Demmer Award this year.